it's MK and I am here with a Mixed Media Mayhem layout, and I'm also playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 31 Days of Sketches. I do have this sketch here by Debbie Barton. I apologize about that, you guys. There's so many Debs, Debras, and Debbies. I apologize about how they actually want their names said. So anyways, I am doing a Mixed Media Mayhem recipe for today. And today is watercolors along with a stencil and then some gold. So I decided to pull out these watercolor crystals. So I have one by Brusho, which is, I believe, the original watercolor crystal inventor, and then one by Nuvo that I received in my Tonic Studios craft kit. I'm not really familiar with which color it's going to come out with, but in case it's not, I pulled out these 3 Shimmers paints based off of the colors that I have been using for this series of photos. So the first one I had was Sage It Ain't So, and then of course I have Spiced Cider, and then this beautiful blue called Steely Blue Eyes. For my gold, I pulled out Nuvo, these gilding flakes, which again, I receive in my Tonic Studios craft kit, which I love because it is smaller jar instead of those big old huge monster jars. And then for my stencil, I pulled out the brand new Minte Crackle stencil. Still in the packaging. I have 3 photos that I would like to make work instead of the 4 that are featured in the layout or the sketch. And then this is going to be my title. It's Destination Right Here. I just thought that was pretty cool when I seen them together in the 49 and Market packet. And then I'm also going to bring in some ink for my stencil in Forest Moss and Ground Espresso. And I have 2 blending brushes because they are my favorite go-to applicators for stencils. And then randomly from Authentique and then die cuts, close to my heart, Creative Memories paper, dollar store chipboard. I mean, just random stuff, you guys, I have pulled out for this layout, and I have to say that not all of it is going to make it on this layout. So for the Authentique, it is the Hunting collection, and then I pulled out this plaid paper because I wanted to mat my photos. I just can't do the whole slap a photo on a layout without matting it. Now I don't go crazy and have like 5 or 6 mats. I still have not been able to do that yet, Janet, but I am working on it. All right, so for the Brushos, now this is a very, 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 very wet project. I mean, so wet. You get your entire desk sopping wet. And what I do is I constantly keep spraying my paper. I don't want this paper to dry at all. And wow, look at that Nuvo color. That's not the color I was going for. So I'm going to mop that up. I don't want that color. Plus, look at all the pink and the purples and no. But I'm going to try it again to see if maybe that was a fluke. And yeah, I don't want those colors. So what I'm going to do is put a huge old hole in my Brusho color, which is, I believe, moss green. But it also has a bunch of other color crystals in it. And that's where the Shimmers is going to come in. The Shimmers is going to come and bring up, get rid of all of those other colors. But I did not like the Nuvo color at all. It was just not the green I was looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and mop it all up, restart, and just splatter this beautiful moss green, because that is the color I am looking for, minus the purples and the pinks and all that other stuff that came in. So I'm going to start with Steely Blue Eyes and go ahead and just dab it everywhere. Now my paper is soaking wet all the way through the bone, you guys. And one of those boards from Janet definitely would be useful at this point. She creates a mixed media board that is coated in paper towels, or no, no, it's not. It is coated in some sort of plastic. I don't know exactly what it is, but she definitely gets it to where all she has to do is tape a very thin line around her paper, and then she can do all of this messy wetness, and then it's still dry completely flat. Now I, on the other hand, don't do that, and normally what I do is this paper is so wet that I leave it to dry exactly where it is. No, I don't clean up any of the water. I wipe it around, around the perimeter of the paper, but I leave it right where it's at. And by the time that it is dry, it usually is flat. Well, because I was impatient and wanted to do this layout while it's fresh in my brain, and right now I heat dried it and now it is a warpy mess. But I'm okay with it. I'm going to keep going because I love the way that it turned out in the end. And I do like the fact that I still do have some of that Nuvo watercolor crystal on there. I do like that I had that color in there, because then I'm able to bring in a few of the aqua pieces, or I should say, are they more like mint? They're mint pieces from 49 and Market. So anyways, I am using both the ground espresso and forest moss to bring in some crackling effects. And I don't want it everywhere because my photos are going to end up covering up most of this stuff. But I do want it peeking out from my photos, and I want it to look like my trim that I get from Hobby Lobby, that mesh trim. But I didn't want to use the mesh trim. So I got the best of both worlds. I got a flat mesh trim, kind of. So I went ahead and cut my photos. I got one down at 3x4, one by 4x4, and then the other one I kept at 4x6, because this is the cabin that my husband and a couple of his friends went to on their goose hunt. They went on a goose hunt and stayed at this cabin. And so of course he is so good to me. He takes all the pictures for me and all that stuff. And then this was one of the guys that he went with. And I really like the fact that inside this authentic paper pack, it had the words hunting pal. I'd rather it say buddy, but that's okay. So I plan on using that because Evan is a really good hunting pal for my friend, oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? For my husband. They're just really good. They, this year they also went ice fishing together and all that good stuff. So it's just super fun that, they get to go do guy things and keep them entertained. Except that he doesn't live in our town. He actually lives about 3 hours away, 3.5 hours away. And so we don't get to spend a lot of time with him, but that's okay. I think if we did, then they'd get in too much trouble. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just try to glue everything back down the way that I had them. So that way I can get everything put on the page. Now, after I glue everything flat, I realized that I do not want all this flatness. It was too flat, plus the warp of this paper, and I have to tell you, it was big. I tried my hardest to make this flat, but once it goes in a layout, it's not even going to bother me. It's going to be flat. But once I have them all there and see the actual curve of my photos, I'm not liking it. So I'm going to end up popping up the picture of my husband and his hunting pal. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. And then of course, anytime that you get punch out pieces from a collection, you've always got those little nubbins to take off. And so I am definitely going to trim off all of those from the authentic little pieces that I punched out, which I think there's only 3, so not a big deal. And then I ink the edges too. Now this little, I wanted to do that little banner piece, but it quickly came in, quickly came out because it had a star on it. And I didn't want just one singular star on my layout. It just looked weird. So I decided, no, I'm not going to do that. And then I definitely wanted to bring in some more of this aqua. I just didn't know where. Nothing looked right for what I was looking for. And so the only aqua really that gets brought in is Destination right here. The right here is, it's not aqua, it's mint. The only mint that is brought in is that right here little banner piece. And I look at it and I was like, but there's aqua, to be honest, not aqua. It's mint. I keep calling it aqua and I am sorry, it's mint. There's that mint color in the background because of that Nuvo. So it's got that hint of that color in the background. So I wasn't really worried, even though I would have liked to bring it in a few more times. I did not. So this is where I decided to pop up a few things. I popped up the title. I haven't yet. Did I? I don't know. I probably did. I popped up a tree ring, and then I popped up, oh yes, there, I'm popping up the title now. And then I popped up my husband's photo, because I felt like that was the focal photo, even though it's not the largest photo. But it is the focal photo for my layout. I really do like how this looks. I decided to put all of those Dollar Tree little wood pieces, chipboard pieces. I definitely decided to put those in on top of the tree rings because they blended in really well. I don't even know what spray I used on those, but they blended in really well to the background, and so they kind of got lost. And then I'm trying to bring in these little twigs with a little bit of leaves, and I thought, nope, I don't like them. I think I try one more time as well, just because I can't believe that this is all that I put on this layout. In all honesty, I do love the fact that there is a bird inside that crosshair, even though it's a duck and they were hunting geese. But it's okay. They were still out there bird hunting. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is absolutely perfect. It just worked out really well. And I had 2 Nuvo lids, and I didn't know where the other lid came from until I remembered that it came from the watercolor crystal bottle. And then of course I need to add my gold. Now this is not a second thought, to be honest. It looks like it is, but it is not. I wanted the gold to be peeking out of my photos. I didn't want like, bam, in your face, here's the gold. I just wanted little peeks and snippets of it. So I had planned to do this, but there was no way that I could do it without actually putting the layout together. So what I'm doing is I put tear and tape in blank spaces around my photos, and now I'm just going to take my gilding flakes and rub them into the what's it called now? The tear and tape. So that's all I'm doing, is just putting that little bit of gold around my photos and in the blank spaces, and I just absolutely love this effect. It is so much cheaper than buying gold paper in the long run. It depends on the tear and tape that you purchase, for one, and for two, if you count the price of my entire kit, no, that was not cheap to get just this one little jar of gilding flakes. But if you were to purchase a massive jar, which, I mean, they're big, you guys, they're huge, then yes, it definitely would be worth it. And they last forever, in all honesty, depending on what you do. I ended up using a whole one of these jars because they used to, I think last year I ended up with 2 or 3 of these gold jars. But last year I used it on an entire background on my layout, and I absolutely loved it. Oh my gosh, so much fun, you guys. These gilding flakes are awesome, and they add just the perfect amount and color of metallic because they come in silver and I think copper or rose gold, whatever you want to call that one, and then of course gold. So yeah, that is the end of, my gold. So I got all of my recipe elements, my watercolor, my stenciling, and my gilding flakes all on my layout. And now I am adding what is called Ancient Gloss Spray by Dina Wakley all around. And then I felt like it just didn't have enough pow, so I went ahead and I added the white because my title was the only white on this entire layout. Because I had planned on bringing in that white banner with a star on it. Nope, couldn't use the star. And then I planned on bringing in the mountains with the white caps on them. Nope, didn't bring that in. So in all honesty, that was the only white. But then I love the added addition of the splatter. So there it is. I found a little tab that says hunting on it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Look, one of those guys didn't make his bed. Shame on him. Anyways, that is the layout that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really, truly appreciate it. I love making watercolor crystal backgrounds. It is so much fun. Now, this is the first time that I've added any shimmers paints to it, and that was fun too. I might do another or similar to effect using the shimmers, just the shimmers, and not bringing in the crystals with all the added little bits and pieces. That's the only downfall to these not sugar crystals, to these watercolor crystals, is that there's other colors blended in, and I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but that's the only downfall to these is that it's not just the color that I want it to be. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. Be sure to check out all the links down below for Mixed Media Mayhem and whoever is following along with us today for Mixed Media Mayhem. And then there is a playlist down below to see who is creating with this sketch. I am very curious to see other people's interpretation of this sketch. Now, in case you guys didn't notice, I flipped mine a little bit so that way the 4 photos or the 3 photos down the right side, I flipped them to where they were at the bottom, and then my photo was going horizontal rather than vertical. I don't know if I said that or not, but that's what, last minute thinking in the brain. All right. Thank you so much, and I will check y'all later. Bye.